Assalamu alaikum. My heart is breaking. Oh, brothers and sisters, my soul is aching. Brothers and sisters, did you know that so many people are leaving Islam every day? Why would anybody leave such a beautiful religion? Why would they choose to become a sick disbeliever instead? A'udhu billah. Brothers and sisters, 100,000 Muslims are leaving Islam every single year.
Over 100,000 Muslims leave Islam every single year.
I'm telling you, this is serious stuff. This is not a joke.
This is not a joke, brothers and sisters.
Yes, we say that there are 1.6 billion Muslims in the world, and Islam is growing day by day. But the standard narrative
has holes.
And we are not proud of that.
And we're not proud of that.
Apostates are everywhere. They are among us. There are even people who memorize the Quran.
They are copies of the Quran.
The youth are full of doubts.
Our youth are full of doubts.
And we tell them, doubts? What doubts, man?
Doubts? What doubts, man?
Have some guts, be a man.
Have some guts, be a man.
But nobody is answering their questions.
And nobody's answering their questions.
We tell them to stop questioning and to stop being emotional and tell them to be a Chad.
Be a Chad. You can do it. I believe in you.
But instead, they choose to be bad.
We've seen this happen, unfortunately. We've seen this happen to a lot of people.
If it continues like this, your child is going to become an apostate.
Your child is going to become an apostate.
Imagine your child, the child that you are raising could end up with the disbelievers, with the kuffar, and go to hellfire.
Hellfire will want to swallow them.
Hellfire will roast them.
Roast them.
Toast them.
Toast them.
Break them.
Break them.
Shake them.
Shake them.
And the rest of us will be watching.
We'll be watching.
Brothers and sisters, we must act now. We must do something about this. And what you can do is to donate to our channel so that we can do something.
May Allah keep us firm. Never let us go astray. May Allah keep our children firm.
If we don't take constructive steps now, this is going to become an avalanche.
It is going to come an avalanche.
A tsunami.
Tsunami.
The apostates, they are everywhere. They don't make it public. They hide it. They are leading prayers.
They are leading prayers to the masjid.
They are still living the life of a religious Muslim.
And they are still leading that life while simultaneously declaring their apostasy.
Brothers and sisters, if you feel as strongly about this as I do, then please donate to us and our cause. You can make a one-time donation or a monthly donation. Please be generous. Please give whatever you can so that we can take the responsibility and, alhamdulillah, spread apostasy. Donate now. Help now. You may even receive many gifts in heaven, in paradise, in Jannah. You can get a house next to me or next to some other very good looking man. You have an opportunity right now. On this haram new year, you can do something halal and donate your money to us. So what are you waiting for? Donate now. Leave it to Sheikh Aboudi. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
That was powerful.
That was very powerful.
That was powerful. By the way, we always point out that Ali Dawah can never state something accurately. Everything has to be twisted. But he couldn't even get that correct, right? It was 100,000 Muslims a year are leaving Islam. That was actually a Pew Research study in the United States.
Oh yeah,
100,000 Muslims leaving Islam every year in the United States. That's not. You're not even talking about the rest of the world. So it's actually significantly worse.
Islamic birth rates are rapidly declining, and some sources say apostasy is also increasing too. Worldwide Christianity is rapidly growing, especially Africa. Yeah, I would contest some of the numbers and statistics given here, but I would say it is generally known that progress decreases birth rates, and according to the research, Muslim societies are no exception to that.
Yeah, as places modernize, then birth rates decline.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden families have more opportunities to send their kids to school and things like that, and so they don't end up having 15 kids. They end up having 2 or 3 kids.
Yeah. It's called family planning becomes a thing when societies modernize, which means people start making reasonable decisions on how many children to have and how to allocate their resources. And
and the numbers that Muslims are pointing out, right? This didn't come from us. This comes from Muslims pointing out that about a quarter, and this was a few years ago, maybe more now, but about a quarter of young Muslims are leaving Islam. And so, and keep in mind that that's increasing. So there comes a point where the increase in the number of Muslims due to birth rates will eventually be canceled out by the number of Muslims leaving it, and that's when you're going to see even more panic from the Da'is. Andrew Tate, I don't think he's going to save you.
I believe that the way they formalized the age of consent is flawed. Let me tell you why. And I'll come back. No, but wallahi, let me come to you. I'm with you. Camera, give me a second, please. I beg you, yeah? You know, in Islam, it's haram to have sexual intercourse with anyone who you'll cause harm to. That's why we don't have a problem with the age of consent, let's say, yeah? In this country, a 30-year-old man can have sexual intercourse with a centenarian, a 100-year-old woman. But I'm going to be explicit here, Kamal, yeah? If a 30-year-old man has sexual intercourse with a 100-year-old woman is going to cause physical harm and psychological harm.
Wait a minute, what did you say?
What do you mean? What did you say?
The same two things, which is the reason why we don't have sexual intercourse with 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds and 10-year-olds in this country.
How in the world is that comparable?
Yeah, all he's saying is the Islamic way, if you actually go with the hadith and you apply some sort of rule about harm, which he's interpreting as overruling Allah's claim in the Quran that you can have sex with a 5-year-old. He's interpreting it that way, and he's saying this is actually, the Islamic way is actually better because we wouldn't just say, the law says I can have sex with a 100-year-old. In Islam, based on my interpretation of harm, that could be harmful, and therefore I wouldn't have sex with a 100-year-old and wouldn't harm her.
Wait a minute, what did you say?
So Islam is better for women. This is awesome, man.
I don't understand this guy.
Look at these girls in the background, man. Their minds are mush right now after this.
Yeah, someone pointed out 100-year-old woman can consent.
Yeah. That's what he's saying. He's saying a 100-year-old woman should not be able to consent because to sex with a young virile guy because he's going to basically break her.
Well, fantastic.
And
Great.
so this is where Hijab's mind goes when he's thinking about this. It's the same like golden showers.
Don't have sex with 100-year-old grandmas because it's also very harmful for the same reason that we don't have sex with those people, meaning 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds. You should also not go and have sex with 100-year-old grandmas. It's harmful. And Islam, of course, gives us the answer to that, provides us with the idea that we should not cause harm. And since we somehow understand that it is harmful to have sex with 100-year-old women, we should therefore ignore Allah's rulings in the Quran and add this additional rule and say that is not permissible. And thereby we also conclude that our own minds and our observations of reality are superior and more important to Allah's word in the Quran.
Yep, precisely.
Yeah, precisely.
All right.
Correct.
So if that's the case, they should make it illegal for a 30-year-old to have sex with a 100-year-old, just as they made it illegal for under 16s to be having sexual intercourse with over 16s. Now, the point is this. Islam, why does it stop certain marriages from taking place? It only stops it on the basis of harm. And that is a case-by-case reality. If somebody, for example, as I've just mentioned, is 30 years old, and he's having sexual intercourse with a woman that's 100 years old who's got a hip replacement surgery, that's actually haram. That marriage should not be allowed to take place in Islam.
You see? Suppose you want to marry a 100-year-old who just got her hips replaced. This is why you need my understanding of this hadith about harm.
This is getting really weird. I didn't think it would go down.
It's just amazing. Muslims look at this. Alhamdulillah, so brilliant, such a brilliant explanation. Until we come along and say, guys, look at what he just said, and then you dirty Islamophobes, how dare you report what Brother Hijab just said?
This is getting really weird, man.
Top G's going full top G mode right now, man.
Top G.
Top G.
I would actually urge the British government to take this Islamic principle on board, because actually exploitation, both physical and psychological, can take place.
And the UK government watched this video and they thought,
We do need that.
Oh,
let's just
find this guy immediately.
Find Mohammed Hijab, make him the next prime minister so that he can.
Oh boy.
If a 30-year-old man, fully vitalized, has sexual intercourse with a 100-year-old woman. Now the point is this: the Quran doesn't say anywhere in the Quran that the woman has to be pubescent.
That's true.
Why? Because you can have a 16-year-old. It's possible. You can have a 16-year-old prepubescent. It's possible. In Islam, 15 is the max. But in this country, 16, it's conceivable to find a 16-year-old woman who's, for example, hasn't menstruated yet. It is conceivable, although it's very unlikely, right? The point is this: in the Islamic discourse, the reason why it's haram to have sexual intercourse with categories of people, whether it be a 100-year-old woman if you're 30, or a 5-year-old girl if you're 30, is because of the harm, both psychological and physical, that you'll be causing them. Now, I dare you now, you're a Quran alone guy, I dare you to find one verse in the Quran where it says you're not allowed to marry someone based on harm, or you're not allowed to have sexual intercourse based on harm, or you're not allowed to marry someone based on puberty.
Yeah, go ahead.
So he just breaks down and challenges the guy, the Quran only guy, in the end, explicitly asking him if he can find one single verse in the Quran that says you may not have a marriage or sexual intercourse with somebody who has not reached puberty, somebody who is below a certain age, that you cannot marry or have sexual intercourse based on harm, because these things are clearly and obviously not found in the Quran. If you go by the Quran itself, if you read the Quran, you will not find such things. On the contrary, you will understand, if you only read the Quran, that it is entirely permissible and unproblematic to go and have sex with all kinds of little girls, no matter if they have reached puberty or not, and no matter if you harm them or not. That's what you get from reading the Quran. That's what he says.
Yeah, and I mean, guys, think about the implications here. Again, once he is granted that Allah's speech makes it halal to have sex with a 5-year-old, and only his reasoning about harm makes it haram. If you go with him and not with what he says about Allah, then you're committing shirk and you're worshiping Mohammed Hijab. Not according to me, not according to AP, according to Muhammad himself. It's Muhammad who said that when you allow a human being to tell you that something is haram when Allah has made it halal, you're actually worshiping the person. But I mean, think about what he's saying. He's saying if someone is going off to a land where there are no Muslims and someone converts to Islam and is going there, he's saying that if you just handed that person the Quran and did not also hand him massive collections of hadiths to learn Islam, this person would go to this other land, open up the Quran, read the Quran he could read it 1,000 times, and he would walk away. According to Muhammad Hijab, he would walk away saying, I could go have sex with a 5-year-old. Nothing in this book says otherwise. And then Muhammad Hijab would say, no, you have to look up my videos to find out why you shouldn't do that. You have to worship me.
Here's somebody who says, by the name of Mick Ferguson, which sounds very credible, says, blatant lie, Quran says girl needs to reach puberty.
Chapter and verse, Mick.
Where?
Chapter and verse, Mick. We literally went to the Quran and 4 commentary, 3 of the most respected commentaries in history, and then one, possibly the most famous 20th century commentary, and Muhammad Hijab breaking down the Arabic right here. They all agree the Quran is saying, yes, you can marry, have sex with, and divorce a girl all before she's reached puberty, and that girl can then go marry another guy who can marry her, have sex with her, divorce her, pass her on to the next guy. As long as you wait 3 months in between those, a prepubescent girl can have 7 or 8 different husbands before she's ever even reached puberty. Because according to Muhammad Hijab, she can start when she's 5, according to the Quran.
Yeah.
But we're the Islamophobes, you bigots. How dare you say this, Mike?
The only part in the Quran where it actually specifies an age, it doesn't specify, where it mentions an age in relation to marriage is where it says that if you take orphans and you take care of orphans, then you should check them and marry them off when they reach an age of marriage. That's what it says. Test the orphans, test them well, and when they reach the age of marrying, then you should marry them off. But that again is a very specific reference to orphans, and it doesn't say this is about puberty. It says when they are ready to get married, then marry them off. Mm-hmm. And that is its own interpretation. This is not a ruling regarding, when it is allowed to marry a little girl. Mm-hmm. That here, we have just gone through it, according to Muhammad Hijab and to many others. And the Quran itself is simply not found in the Quran. The Quran itself...
Isn't this amazing, by the way? I mean, yeah. Allah, his perfectly clear speech, and again, the standard method of understanding all the verses about Allah's clarity is that he's perfectly clear in his commands. He gives a ruling that is about divorcing girls after you've had sex with them, and yet the girls haven't reached puberty. Hijab agrees with us. All of Islam's greatest commentators agree with us, and yet we're the liars. Isn't this amazing? It's like they could all say it for 14 centuries. They can all say the same thing. As soon as we say, hey guys, look at what they just said, then it becomes an embarrassment, and it's liars! How dare you lie about our book? Well, my goodness, man. What a religion, dude. What a religion.
What a religion. Obviously, these people are all Islamophobes. Mohammed Hijab, David Wood, Apostate Prophet, Ibn Kathir, the Jalalain, and so on.
Oh, right. Look at that girl. Look at that girl in the background, man.
Terrifying.
What? My mom didn't tell me this.
She's thinking, wait a minute, what did you say?
If you do that, I will take my point back. It doesn't. So that makes it halal then. It makes it halal. So if you're Quran alone, you're allowed to have sexual intercourse with 5-year-olds.
Because it tells you who you should marry. It tells you
where does it say that?
Well, it's...
Yeah, you're not allowed to marry your auntie, your mother, and that's enough.
I'm not saying that. The criteria of what you should look for in a marriage.
Go on, where does it say that?
Firstly, for Muslim, Allah says that a pure man for a pure woman.
Okay, fine.
We're talking about belief.
Okay.
Your belief is how pure your belief. For example...
Get me one verse in the Quran which says the woman has to be pubescent.
No.
One verse.
Wait, do you see what this? Do you see what this guy's doing? Saying you have to marry a believer, and so it looks like he's saying, you have to, you're supposed to marry a believer, even though you are allowed to marry, Jews and Christians and so on. So somehow they're in the believer category. But he's saying you have to marry a believer, and so it looks like he's saying, well, a 5-year-old couldn't really be a believer. It doesn't know. A 5-year-old doesn't know anything, so a 5-year-old couldn't even be a believer. But notice that's Hijab's point. You have to do some gymnastics like this and say, oh, okay, yeah, this verse is clearly saying you can have sex with a 5-year-old. It's halal according to this verse. You have to take something else in the Quran and twist it into saying you can't. which is what this he has to do because he has no outside source. He's Quran only.
By the way, there is a funny side note here. Some people who also like to appeal to Ibn Kathir and others want to point out that the Quran does indeed say that there is, or the Quran, hints that girls should only be married off at the age of puberty, and then they refer to Ibn Kathir. The issue is Ibn Kathir never actually really says such a thing. There is an interpretation by Ibn Kathir about the verse that I just mentioned, which is, by the way, chapter 4, verse 6, I think, where he comments on marrying off orphans when they have reached the age of marriage. And he says in the actual text of the tafsir that when they have reached the age of maturity, and maturity is then not specified, it is not said that it is puberty. What he says about it is something like that there have been differing opinions on when this maturity is, and one of the popular opinions is that once a child begins to have wet dreams, then the child is mature. It can be married off.
Yeah. So and again, that's the problem is the verse that's actually talking about whether you can have sex with a 5-year-old says yes, thumbs up, and you have to go to interpretations of other things and interpret it in certain ways and then apply it beyond orphans, and then you have to do all these you have to take all these additional steps when according to Surah 65 verse 4 it's halal. You don't get to change halal to haram through interpretations once Allah has classified something as halal.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
Area for what marriage should be based on, not what it should.
I want one verse in the Quran from the beginning of the book to the end of the book which says that she has to be perfect.
I've just said that.
So okay, so that makes it halal from your perspective.
No, it doesn't.
From your perspective, it's halal.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
Because the criteria for marriage is defined in the Quran.
Where?
What should be a marriage?
And where does it say pubescent? Where does it say puberty is not?
Firstly, for Muslim, she should have the same belief as you. How can a 5-year-old girl that doesn't know the difference?
Bro, I don't agree.
A 5-year-old can't be classified as a believer even.
This guy obviously doesn't know his history. In his history, it is a child of a Muslim family is considered child of a believer. Is considered a believer. You don't have to go through.
He's Quran only, man.
Well, this is so funny. He's Quran only, and then he has to somehow appeal to some logic that is outside of the Quran in order to then explain the Quran. It always goes there. It always has to go there. They always have to. The Quranists have to somehow interpret the Quran based on some interpretations and reasonings and figure out what the Quran actually says and what the Quran actually what Quran verses actually mean. But then they claim to be simply Quran only believers. It is weird.
That. We both say it's haram.
What belief is.
Okay, fine.
So why would I marry a 5-year-old? So the criteria is
this doesn't make sense what you're saying. I want you to find me one thing in the Quran.
The criteria Allah tells you what is for marriage, not what is not for marriage.
Kamru. You know in the Quran it says حُرِّمَتْ عَلَيْكُمْ أُمَّهَاتُكُمْ. It says you're not allowed to marry your mum. It says you're not allowed to marry your sister or your auntie. Where does it say you're not allowed to marry
believes the way that you believe.
prepubescent?
If you're a Shia, you marry a Shia. If you're a Sunni, then you look for a woman who believes in a Sunni.
Listen, I'm not getting an answer here, my friend.
I am. It's from the Quran.
No, but you're not getting me a direct verse in the Quran.
Notice what Hijab is saying. Give me a verse which says anything remotely resembling don't have sex with a girl until she's reached puberty. And this guy who's Quran only supposedly is adding his own interpretations to a bunch of things. But a 5-year-old can't really be considered a believer. Shouldn't know anything. I mean, notice how horrifying this is, because if you put it together, hey, a 5-year-old doesn't know anything. Right, a 5-year-old knows very little. One of my sons is almost 5. He does not know much about life or marriage or anything like that. But if you put that together with, hey, the Quran allows sex with 5-year-olds. It's yes, sorry, bud. The Quran allows you to have sex with a 5-year-old, and that should be terrifying and horrifying to you. Somehow, all these guys are Muslims, and it's all fine.
Yeah. I have a 6-year-old, and he just turned 6, and he was trying to convince me a few weeks ago that leprechauns are real and that I'm just being weird when I say they're not real, they're fake.
You see?
Yeah. So
you see, you deny Islam, and now your kids believe in leprechauns. You see?
I want a direct verse.
You're telling me in
Go
the
on.
Quran, there is nowhere in the Quran where Allah says a pure man for a pure woman.
No, I didn't say that.
Well,
that's a straw man argument.
No, it's not.
I want a direct answer to my question here. I've just said the criteria for why we're not allowed to marry prepubescent, so let's say women that can't deal with it, is harm. That comes from the Sunnah. Now, the only verse in the Quran is وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ. Don't cause your own harm to your own self. But it doesn't say anything about causing harm to others. I'm looking for one verse in the Quran.
Just one.
وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ. I'm looking for one verse that you can say, you pinpoint it and say, this is where it says prepubescent marriage or whatever is not allowed. It's only found in the Sunnah.
It's a simple It's a simple request, right? Give me the verse, chapter and verse. Very simple, but no takers.
This is kind of like the Zakir Naik method, where he says, "Give me one verse which clearly and unequivocally says, this and this and that."
Yeah, except I mean, in this situation, we've got the clearest verse that speaks on this. Is acknowledged by the greatest Muslim commentators of all time to say it's halal to have sex with a 5-year-old. So you show me otherwise, and you can't.
Yeah. I root for the tall, bearded guy here.
It's only found in the Sunnah.
Because that is an addition.
That's the problem now with the Quran alone.
No, it's not. Because I give the answer for what is
That's the problem with the Quran alone.
The criteria for the marriage, what you look for your partner, is clearly defined in the Quran.
That's not good enough for me.
Cannot make a distinction and understanding.
No, but that's your extrapolation. I'm saying, get me a verse in the Quran. Direct verse.
No, you can't get a direct verse.
Okay, there you have it. So
you just said you can't get a direct verse.
Okay, there you have it.
So the only direct verse says yes, you can have sex with a 5-year-old. Mohammed Hijab says, show me anything that says otherwise. The guy tries to turn a claim about having a believing or pure wife into something that would rule out 5-year-olds, but he doesn't do a good job, and so that's it.
Well, Mohammed Hijab demonstrated very, very clearly that according to the Quran, it is okay to have sex with a 5-year-old girl. Case closed. Indisputable.
100% correct, Mohammed Hijab.
Absolutely.
So you can marry a 5-year-old.
That lays out a criteria of what you should look in a partner.
Okay, do you agree with me that being okay, Cameron? That's done now. We'll move on.
Okay, the guy is humiliated, is destroyed. Do you want to move to the section where he talks about wives and how to treat them?
They're probably about to get to it, aren't they?
Oh. That's done. We'll move on.
No,
problem.
you're not done.
Okay, give me something.
No, that's not done.
Give me something.
You got to first admit what I'm saying. Acknowledge what it is that
I know what you're saying. I do acknowledge. Yes, I do acknowledge.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, I do. Of course.
Look at the grin on his face. Look at the grin on his face. Yes, I
like this guy.
I
like
acknowledge that words have come out of your mouth.
Now that we've established this point.
What the criteria of marriage is. It doesn't tell us what is not.
Okay, thank you. Okay, good. So, let's see if the people are convinced with that, we'll move on. Now, if they're not convinced, no problem.
You can only get convinced
no problem.
if they study the
if they're not convinced, we'll move on. Now, second question. The Quran says, وَضْرِبُوهُنَّ. Now, I'm going to become all controversial.
So this is the important topic that we actually want to address today and talk about. The talk is coming to chapter 4, verse 34, which is the very infamous, notorious verse, which says that you have to discipline your wives, and if they do not listen to you, you may beat them, you may hit them. And there, the specific word, he says, يُضْرِبُهُنَّ, which is beating, striking, which they will now discuss. And this is very, very critical.
And so notice, what he did in the section about, matter of fact, let me give the overall picture. Here's the issue. People who are Quran only, you can have a sophisticated reason, a serious reason for being Quran only, right? That's the speech of Allah. I don't have to believe in Muhammad. Muhammad is basically a mailman. He's receiving the message and delivering the message. Why would I believe everything this guy says? Although you have to deal with some Quran passages that tell you what to think about Muhammad and lay him down as the pattern of conduct and so on. But anyway, the point is, the way Quran only Muslims who've actually thought through the issue have described it. It's like, hey, if you get a letter from a king and they bring you the letter, you don't start, anything the mailman tells me to do, I'll do what the mailman tells me. Like, why would you do that, right? But the fact is, the vast majority of people who go in a Quran only direction are doing it to avoid all the embarrassing facts in the hadith, right? They're trying to avoid all the stuff about things like Muhammad having sex with a 9-year-old girl and Aisha having to clean his semen stains. They want to avoid all that stuff and just say, hey, let's just go with the Quran. And so, hey, we can avoid all these horrible, problematic things by just going with the Quran. And Hijab is flipping that and saying, no, if you just go with the Quran, you don't have the limitations that are placed on some of these things by the hadith. And so it's actually, you get something worse. You don't get something better by ignoring the hadith. You get something that's even sicker and more demonic and evil than if you go with the hadith. And so he's pointing out how extreme it is to just go with the Quran, because you would think you can have sex with a 5-year-old. And now he's going to go, hey, if you're trying to avoid stuff in the hadith about wife beating, you need to think again, because it's actually worse. It's actually worse if you read the Quran without the limitations on wife beating that you find in the hadith.
Yep.
Controversial on this guy, yeah? The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he never hit his wife, ever.
That's debatable.
Debatable.
There's a hadith that says Muhammad never hit his wives, but there are other hadiths that say he did hit his wives, and now they're retranslating them. So you can go with the hard copies, the old hard copies of Sahih Muslim and Sunan an-Nasai, and they say that they translate it as Muhammad struck. Aisha says he struck me in my chest, which caused me pain. That's what Sahih Muslim and Sunan an-Nasai say. Now, if you go to them, like on Sunnah.com, it says he gave me a shove. Right? So they're they're retranslating the parts about Muhammad hitting Aisha because we started using it as a criticism. So in other words, exactly what's going on here. They're fine saying it for 14 centuries. As soon as we use it as a criticism of Islam, they want to suddenly change because we're Islamophobes.
Yeah, and it is also very clear in the hadith that Muhammad permitted women to the beating of women. That he also said that men should not be questioned why they beat their women, and there is much more. And there's also. Do you want to go into those sources right now, or do you want to move on for a little bit and then go back to that?
Yeah, we can. What do you mean sources? You mean the ones about Muhammad hitting Aisha, or
well, there's also the one
about 434. Or yeah. Let him talk a little more, and then we definitely want to look at what is acceptable according to the hadith.
And he never created hadiths.
Okay,
He's an innovation.
Kamru.
Remember that? The only hadith that he brought was the Asan al-Hadith, Surah 39, verse 23. Allah sent down the best hadith.
Okay,
a
mashallah.
book that is consistent, related, contrasting, repeating.
Yes.
The skins of those who reverence the
Lord. Okay, fine.
This is the hadith that he brought. He didn't bring anything else.
Okay, very nice. Thank you for that. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Have to ask him this. He needs to know.
He needs to know.
Okay, no. Okay, I need to know. But I need to ask. Okay, he needs to know. I like it. Now you're starting to get some of the. Listen. But
getting the hikmah.
Before I give you the shovel. Well, hold on. Listen, what are you talking about, brother? Shovel? No, look.
Wait a minute. What did you say?
Before I get the shovel to bury you.
Wait a minute. Where were we?
The people are convinced with that we won.
Okay.
It's consistent, related, contrasting, repeating.
Yes.
The skins of those who reverence the Lord. And he never created hadiths.
Okay.
Why
do you keep messing around with it? He's about to go in. Just let it play.
Okay, no, it just went to the beginning, and then I don't know if we're at the right place now.
Okay, Kamru.
Okay,
the only hadith that he brought was the Asan al-Hadith, Surah 39, verse 23. Allah sent down the best hadith.
Okay, mashallah.
A book that is consistent, related, contrasting, repeating.
Yes.
The skins of those who reverence the Lord.
Okay, fine.
This is the hadith that he brought. He didn't bring anything else.
Okay, very nice. Thank you for that. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Have to ask him this.
You got to ask him.
He needs to know.
He needs to know.
Okay, no. Okay, I need to know. But I need to ask. Okay, he needs to know. I like it. Now you're starting to get some of the
speaker's corner power. Hikmah.
But before I give you the shovel.
The hawk and the hikmah.
Before I bury you.
Well, hold on. Listen, what are you talking about, brother? Shovel?
Wait a minute.
No, look, the grave is dug.
The grave is dug.
You're inside of it. Now look, you've got two options. You can have the humble hand.
The humble hand.
That will take you out of the grave, or you can have the shovel of evidence that will bury you. Now I'm going to be very straightforward with you here. The shovel of evidence is as follows.
Here we go.
Forget about everything else. It could mean striking a parable, but it also means to hit. Yeah? وَإِذَا رَأَيْتَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا فَضَرْبَ الرِّقَابِ. In chapter number 40, in chapter 47 of the Quran, Surah Muhammad, verse 4, where it says if you find in the battle of war, if you see the people that you strive against them, in war, you can fight them and hit their necks. Darb, the same word used, darb. The word daraba yadribu can range from patting and touching. Hold on, please.
I have to interject.
No, please, allow me,
Camera.
Camera.
In the Arabic language that has the most different meanings.
Okay, fine.
That's how you apply
Camera, I'm not disagreeing with you, my friend. Yeah, I do agree. That point, I want to shake your hand and agree.
Yes,
I agree with that. I agree with this point. He's right. I was about to make the same point when you're on the same page now. The word daraba could actually mean striking a parable. It could mean tapping like this, like the tayammum. And it could mean hitting. It could mean beating someone up.
Yeah, so the context is that in chapter 4, verse 34, which is the verse that talks about beating your wife, which I could pull up right here, says, men are in charge of women by right of what Allah has given one over the other and what they spend from their wealth. So righteous women are devoutly obedient, guarding in the husband's absence what Allah would have them guard. But those from whom you fear arrogance, first advise them. Then, if they persist, forsake them in bed. And finally, strike them. But if they obey you, once more seek no means against them. Indeed, Allah is ever exalted and grand. So if they obey you, they're supposed to be obedient. And you can finally, as a final resort, after two different options, strike them, hit them in order to turn them toward obedience and make them obedient to yourself, to the husband once again. And this word here, strike, which is is what they are basically talking about, which is also translated as beat them. And if you want to
scourge was the thought.
Oh yeah, okay. And
scourge them.
Scourge them. And if you want to go into the word here, into the root, which is here, وَيْضْرِبُهُنَّ, and strike them. So daraba, which is this word, this root word, DRB, is the word that they are talking about. And in the Quran, you can find different instances of this word where it is mentioned. You can see mostly it is used for strike, to hit, but also in different contexts, in different meanings. But in this context, it is translated as striking, as hitting, as translated by the Islamic scholars.
Yeah, and notice you need that for the logic. Like you read the Sahih International, and they add, first and second and so on to indicate that there's an escalation going on. That first you warn them, second, then you banish them to a separate bed, and finally, the last straw, you beat them. Although it doesn't say you have to think of those as steps. It just could be giving you three options of how you deal with it. But I would say when you go with the escalation view, it actually rules out some reinterpretations, because if you're escalating, hey, I've warned you, I've already warned you, and then okay, that wasn't enough. Now I'm separating myself from you. You stay in your room. You stay in your room. Don't come near me. And then I'm escalating beyond that. Well, that would be hitting. And so if you say, it just refers to something else, or giving her another warning, it doesn't make sense.
Yep. That was just the context explained here.
Yeah, you want to check out 47.4 and what he's saying?
47.4, yeah.
There you go. You just kind of need the beginning. So when you meet those who disbelieve in battle, strike their necks until when you have inflicted slaughter upon them. Notice. So this is what Hijab is saying. Surah 47 verse 4 says you strike your enemies in battle, and this is referring to slaughtering them. And Hijab points out it's using the same term for talking about striking your wife. And so if you don't, this is Hijab's point, if you don't go to the hadith to place some limitations on what you can do to your wife, you would conclude that you can chop her head off, that you can slaughter her when she disobeys you.
Yeah. Here's his point. This is the same word, darba, the same word as is used in chapter 4, verse 34, when it describes hitting your wife. It says here, and strike them, strike your wives into obedience. And here it talks about the disbelievers. When you encounter them, strike their necks, slaughter them.
Yeah. So just to be clear, ladies and gentlemen, he's not saying that it's okay to slaughter your wife. He's saying if you just go with the Quran, there's nothing ruling that out. He's saying that you would read Surah 4, verse 34, hey, I can strike my wife. What does that mean? He's saying without the hadith to place some limitations on what you could do, you would conclude, I can strike her like I strike a guy in battle and slaughter him. So I can slaughter my wife if she gets out of line. So this is what he says is going to bury this dude. It's going to bury the Quran-only position, because there's no way out of this. Not according to us, according to Mohammed Hijab, if you just read the Quran, you would conclude that you can chop your wife's head off if she gets out of line.
Yeah. And hit on their fingers and chop their necks. That's what you could possibly do if you just go with the Quran. Mm-hmm. David, what do you say about that?
Yeah, we should. I mean, you could play a little more of the clip, but we also want to look at the hadith as far as what you can do to your wife according to the hadith.